Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the final presentation before we allow you to go and have fun at the JNUC party. Who's excited? Well done. Exactly the right response. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Patrick Jerneheim to you all. Patrick's traveled quite some way to come and talk to you all today. He's come all the way from Stockholm in Sweden. So thank you very much for making the long travels over here.
No, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. We could go on all day. This is Patrick's first time presenting at JNUC, although he has attended, I believe, 4 times before.
Yep.
And I asked Patrick before this session what was his most memorable JNUC experience. His response was that he hopes that this is going to be his most memorable JNUC experience, so hopefully all of us can make that a truthful thing for him.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah.
All right, Patrick, take it away.
Thank you very much. So, this is me. I'm a consultant. I work with integration. I'm a Jamf integrator. I'm an Apple trainer. I do a lot of stuff. So today, I'm going to take you on a small journey. A short story about onboarding, about how to utilize your Jamf Pro now. But when I did this, there was still the Casper Suite. So, oh, cool. No, so how to maybe create new workflows, how to find your way when you might be stuck somewhere, when you just have you had your JumpStart and you're starting out with your Jamf Pro. So let's go. You're sitting there in your office, you had your JumpStart, and I mean, is this enough? Do we have, I mean, the guy from Jamf that was there that's doing the integration was a great guy. So he did all this cool stuff, or she, I would say, but they did all this cool stuff, and you have these policies, you have these workflows, you have smart groups, and you have all these things. And yeah, well, pretty much everything just works just fine, doesn't it? So are you content? Is this okay? Do you want to do anything more? I can say from experience that doing JumpStart and calling back to the customer let's say 2-3 months afterwards and say, so, I mean, guys, how have you evolved the system? What have you done? What have you been doing more than we did at the JumpStart? And they go, no, we're fine. It works just fine. We don't want to break anything. That's not the response you want to get. You want to say, oh, but haven't you, I mean, you made some new changes, you made some new cool workflows and implemented them in your, no, we don't want to break anything. We like it is. So that's not the way it should be. But reading through the SOW, I think most of you have probably read that one, I hope, if you have a Jamf Pro installation. So reading through this, it says, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we do during the JumpStart. There's a bunch of stuff that we already have done for you, but it's probably not enough, is it? I mean, if you look at it, what we have, let's say, I'm going to do this story from the perspective of a company that I worked with, and it's probably not going to be one company, it's going to be a couple of companies, but for the sake of argument, it's one company that we've done. And their onboarding system was from the manual perspective. Everything that they did when it came to onboarding of a new employee or a reinstallation of a computer or something like that was totally manual. So they unboxed the computer or reinstalled it, assigned it to a domain user. That computer was configured to their specifications, and they installed and set up some default things. So, and you can see this now. We have a box, you unbox it, you turn it on, press the power button, you log into it, you start configuring, you start installing stuff, or you reinstall it in some way or matter. They usually had a USB stick that they went around with and reinstalled it. Well, it worked. Then they installed the apps, a bunch of apps. They did the domain binding, they did the configuration, and the hard part of this one was the assignment When they were supposed to assign the computer to the user, they had it's a little elaborate system that they used. They sent the username to a system, to an external system, and they got back the computer name of that computer and a unique admin password that was supposed to be used on that computer. And this all had to be done manually. So there was no way around that. They had to go to that system, type in the username that was going to be assigned to this computer, got back the computer name, got back that unique admin password, and set that on the computer before they could give that computer to the employee. Sounds tedious, doesn't it? Ah, come on. So, what do we want to achieve? How do we want to change this? Well, we want to automate it in some way, at least. We want to have this go a little smoother for the IT department and for the user that we're onboarding, so we don't have to wait. So we evaluate what we have. No problem with that. We talk to the colleagues. We talk to the PC people in there that runs the SCCM. We talk to the users. Don't forget to talk to the users, because that's good to talk to your users as well. Gather all the information that you can, and one of the more important things, in my opinion, is to define a timeline. So we want to do all this. We want to make this a little more automatic than we had it before, but we want to have some sort of timeline. We want to have, I wouldn't say a definite deadline, because that would be evil. But, I mean, let's say we want to accomplish this in 1, 2, 3 weeks or something like that. And then you start. Gather all the people you want. And in this case, AD binding was not an option. There was supposed to be AD bound. We tried and we tried and we tried, but no, AD bound. So, more? Well, we want a screensaver set to password. We want the firewall to on. And after a while sitting there, this was before lunch, so by lunch it looked like this. So we have all these things that we want to do with the computers. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, we'll have to create some sort of order in this chaos, of course. So we put it up in 4 topics, 4 categories of what you want to say. So a suite of default applications that were supposed to be used. These are applications that every user would like to have. They should be on every computer. Doesn't matter what the person that uses that computer will do with it. Everyone should have them. We want some common security settings, of course. We want to have the firewall turned on. We want to have the encryption. We want to have a screensaver, as I said. This should be on. And we want to have the standard configuration. And the standard configuration entailed get the computer name from the system that was an external system and get the unique password for the administrator. And then as a thing they had just was, oh, we want to get all the printers in self-service as well. Okay, why? Should we not pre-install? No. We want to get them in self-service, because if we get them in self-service, we're going to teach our users to actually use self-service so that we can later actually present other stuff in there. And there will be, oh, they're in self-service. Cool, I know what that is. And then go and get them there instead. So that was the statement of work that we created. So default applications, Microsoft Office, FSecure protection, CrashPlan Pro. Well, I don't know if any one of you were here earlier today. They talked about the installation of CrashPlan Pro. So I'm going to not touch that much on it, but I'm going to say we did the same. They wanted 1 password installed and licensed. That was not as easy as we thought. And then we wanted Dropbox, Chrome, and, AirWatch. They wanted an AirWatch client on there, because they didn't want to use Casper as their MDM, because they already had an MDM. They only want to use Casper as their Mac management tool. And I was, yeah, okay, well, if you say so, I don't know, it's up to you. I tried to give them all the reasons in the world that probably it would be easier if we took everything in one, but they were, no. I mean, you told us over the phone that it would work. And I said, yeah, I did. I'm sorry about that, but okay. So We wanted the security settings. So firewall turned on, encrypted with firewall 2, have screensaver set to immediate lock, and limited login to assigned domain user, to that assigned domain user, and to local accounts only. So no one else would be able to go up to that computer, log in with their domain credentials, and see what that person's computer contained. We needed a standard configuration. It should be bound to the AD, as I said. To the specific domain user should have been assigned to. Mobile account creation should be enabled so that the user were able to bring the laptop off the network, of course. And then to have the local account with a unique password. And this was quite a headache, I could say, when we started thinking about this. How do I set a unique password? And that password was not available to me because that password was set in a system, so I will get it out of the system, and to get that back again, I would have to go into that system and log in a security audit, something like that, and they just say, oh, so why do you need this and why? So, I mean, it's a bit of a problem. And then the last thing, all the printers in self-service, and then be able to install all apps that we already installed, but if something broke or something like that, some application disappeared, just go back and do a reinstall from self-service. And not be bothered with first run. Do you help your users with that? You don't do first run, you know, oh, this is the first time you run this and that. Personally, I don't really care about it because, I mean, I can live with that. Every 4 years, I get a dialogue that pops up and says, oh, have you seen the new features in this application? Oh, maybe I haven't seen them before, so well, that would be cool. But no, this was a definite. No first-run dialogues. Why? No, they should be able to start working directly. Okay, yeah, well, I can live with that. And then it should be faster than the previous setup that they had, the manual one. And sitting in on a session with them, I could almost say that from the start that this is going to be faster. So that session, from bringing the computer from the shelf, sitting down, installing it, giving it to the user, letting the user take it away and walk away, that took 4.5 hours. And that was not good. So how do we do this? Well, you can get more training. So you go to your CFO and you tell your CFO, oh, we need a CCT. And then Jamf says, no, you can't come to CCT because you need experience on the JSS. And no, well, we had a JumpStart. Well, you need at least 2 months of experience on that one. And then your CFO tells you that, no, well, didn't you just have 3 days of training now? Come on, we just paid for training. You need more training? Well, I want to do all this cool stuff. I mean, so you go to Jamf's webpage and you download all the white papers there is. And you start reading and reading and reading and reading. And all of a sudden you feel, oh, this is going to take too much time. This is not. So watch webinars is probably better, but, well, it takes too much time. So what do? I mean, come on. Just Google it. Of course, it's out there. I mean, I can assure you that if you want to do something in the Mac environment with Jamf products, someone has already done it. I mean, to 100% almost that someone has almost done. I wouldn't say 100 because I would say 99 because there's one thing I'm going to tell you about that no one had done, so I had to invent it myself. Well, so we Google it. And first stop shop, of course, this is the one. I mean, you go to Jamf Nation, you look at that. So how can I install Office? How can I install CrashPlan? How can I? All those things. I usually do this. Whenever I'm at a conference or whenever I'm at a client or wherever I'm anywhere that some people are talking about, oh, this is a useful link, this is a cool thing, I Google up something. I try to make my own little library of bookmarks that will help me when I do stuff later on. And in this case, I mean, I try to things that are, that are connected to some specific company that I work with. Well, I get all the links in there. So I can go back and I can see, oh, what did I think there? Oh, yeah, that was the reason why I did it that way. So it's an easy thing. So we have a suite of default applications. First one, Microsoft Office. So if you had a very, very nice jump starter, the integrator helped you with this one. If you're like me integrating, I will help you with a lot easier products because we usually don't have time to go into how do we deploy Microsoft Office as a whole too. So you have to Google it. And so we Google it, and what comes up? Well, one of the first things that comes up was this. You Google installation, packaging, Office, and stuff like that. So in the 2015 session documentation from Maxis Admin, these guys here, and myself a little bit, there was a brilliant session about packaging. Packaging in general, but Microsoft Office specifically. So Duncan McCracken, one of the smartest guys I've ever met, had a tremendous interesting session about how to handle the packaging of the Office suite and how to do it. So halfway through that one, no, we're not going to do that because this is too hard. I mean, that guy's smart, and to keep up with him, no, it's too much. It's too complicated. We have to have something easier. And meet your new best friend. You've met him dozens of times. He's been on this stage a couple of times, and you've probably seen him around the building now because he's here. Rich Troughton, the master of documentation. You go to his webpage, their founder, and you just search for, oh, how do I install this or this or this or this? And he has a write-up on that. So what do? Well, you just sit there. You have your VM ready. You have your Composer ready. And you just do exactly what Rich said. And then you're done. It's a piece of cake. So easy. You just follow it. But you need to follow the instructions, because otherwise you're going to write in the comments that I've seen a couple of people do, oh, it doesn't work like you say. But it does if you follow the instructions to the T. So that one was easy. The next one, there was the FSecure protection, installed and enabled. And FSecure, that's a AV, then an antivirus product, and then endpoint protection. And we want to do silent install of this. We don't want to have the user click on a bunch of buttons when this happens. So we wanted to do a silent install, but there was no information about silent install. And even how we tried and we tried and we tried, and we couldn't see it. So we set up the Composer, we set up the VM, and we did a watched installation, but still, no. So you Google it, and when you Google it, nothing comes up. And after a while, well, you found this. And my Japanese is, I can say, I've been there once. I've had the sushi. I've had Kobe beef, but I cannot read. But in the top line there, you see Mac UI. So I don't know why this caught my eye, but something caught my eye. So, well, looking a bit lower down in the blog post there, I can see, oh, there's something there. And there's a script down there. So what does that say? Well, it's a solution, of course. Google Translate helped me. Yeah, this is the solution. I'm not sure if it's my solution, but it's a solution. So why not check it out and see what happens? So I went through the script and looked at it and found two things that actually could help me in making a silent install of this application. I could do the touch library FSecure FS Mac and do a suppress post-install dialog. Yay. That looks like a silent install functionality. And then I could do a defaults right in the user's home folder. So if I now only had a way of putting stuff in the user's home, oh, well, you had fill user template. Works just fine. So I put that in there from the start, and then it worked. Next one, CrashPlan Pro. Well, you go to Jam's website, You download the white paper, and then you're good to go. Except that we wanted to do a silent install of this application, and we wanted to do it before the user had been logged in. And looking at it, user lost, grep console still. No, our user was, I mean, that would make our admin user the one that got backed up. So we had to change that. So we changed that line to this instead, which meant that we could actually do this after we had pre-created the home folder for the user. So we checked it out. Some more intelligence went into it. Otherwise, everything is just by the documentation that is in there. One password, installed and licensed. This would have been easy if we had VPP. I mean, the app is on the store, so we could have just bought the amount of licenses that we wanted to have. But no. We bought a site license. And how do you handle a site license? Well, you start the application, you take the license file, you drop it in the lower left corner, and then it automatically just licenses itself. This is not deployment-friendly apps. If you want to know how we did it, I won't say it on camera. You can come up to me afterwards and say, it's easy. The last ones were just as easy. I mean, this is default territory for the Composer application, so this is not. So, security settings. Some common security settings we need. So we wanted the firewall turned on. Well, not that bad. The integrator had made a extensions attribute that checked if the firewall was on. So there was a policy for that and a smart group. And if the firewall was off, we turned it on. Well, that worked. That was not. Encrypted by firewall. Well, that was not too hard either. I mean, that was one of the standard setups that was from the JumpStart as well. But we run into a particularly nasty thing when it deferred the next login, not to the next login of that user that logged in, but to the next time that the admin user logged in to the machine. So we had to change that and put that, as you will see later in this presentation. And then we wanted the screensaver to set to immediate lock. You know, you get that question from PC people all the time. How do you lock the screen? I mean, we have the lock screen button. Well, you just push that button, and then it locks after 5 minutes. No, that's not good. So, well, another of the Jamf Nation alumni, Ben Toms to the rescue. So you Google set screensaver lock, and up comes this. Ah, cool. He has it written down. And he has a script as well. And that script tells us exactly what to do, so we can use that one. And if you remember anything from your JumpStart or when you work with it, you know that in the script there's an option with parameters, and you can use those parameters in the script. So we didn't even have to make more than one script. We can use the same script for everything. So you took that, and then you just use the parameter values in your script when you want to push it out. One thing, and that goes to the Jamf people in the audience, is why, if you use the parameter 10 and 11, does it just be /0 or /1? It doesn't really, it has to be, I haven't filed a bug on that, but I probably should. I don't know, any one of you ever gone through all the parameters? We tried and didn't really work. The script that Ben had made had too much of intelligence for us, so we actually slimmed it down to 5 one-liners instead, more or less, and used that one to be able to just push those values into the script and set the time for when the screensaver would lock. So that was easy. Then we have our default configuration. Default configuration. Now, that sounds easy, doesn't it? A default configuration. Bound to Active Directory, assigned to specific domain user, have a mobile account creation enabled so that when the user logs in, there's a mobile account for them, and have the local admin account with that unique password. Damn it, that's not easy. How do I change that? Well, as it turns out, the Jamf binary has actually a value for this, how to change the admin password on the machine. So we like that. Well, cool. We can put that in the script. That will work. But the order of things now turned out to be somewhat strange. We had to assign it to to a specific domain user to get the name for that computer and put that on the machine before we could actually bind the machine to the AD so that the machine would have the correct name in there. And so all of a sudden it felt like something that would look like this, you know, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Very, very easy. Came out like this. And it was, so how, when, where, what should we do? How? So Google for post-enrollment help scripts. I mean, what? So with all this now, I found this page. So Emily Koslick has a great write-up on how to actually add stuff in your quick add package as a post-install script that you can use. But that was not what I used, because what I used instead was the thing that she wrote a bit about down there. How to prompt a user for a machine name or for the username that should be associated. And she uses Cocoa Dialogues, so we did that. We used Cocoa Dialogues. So we want to get Cocoa Dialogues in there to be able to print that name, assign it to the user, and do all that stuff in the correct order, hopefully. So Emily's blog led me to this guy, John Kitzmiller, and he had a write-up about how to actually do stuff with the computer just after enrollment and how to force it to happen. Because I don't know if you've seen that, but sometimes you enroll the device, and the device, no, well, it's enrolled, yeah, but it hasn't gotten all the bells and whistles yet. It takes some time, but we wanted to be certain, dead certain, that this had happened. So he had a good thing here. He had a little script that we can use, and a solution with a launch daemon, a basic shell script, and then he used big honking text, which is a cool application that you can use to lock the screen with just text on it. We ended up not using that, even though we installed it, because the Jamf helper could do this for us instead. So we created a package, a first boot install package, and which installed a first run plist in the launch daemons, so that this would run before any user were logged in. Daemons, system, agents, user. And then we installed all the things that we wanted to do. And then we went on. We created a post-install package that checked the enrollment status, enforced management, did a recon, and then did a manual trigger. And with that manual trigger, we triggered a couple of things in the JSS or in the Jamf Pro, but it was JSS when I did it. I can just tell you that, because I have never touched the Jamf Pro. That came out very odd, didn't it? So we installed some custom apps, and then we did a forced reboot. Looked like this. So we installed Cocoa Dialogues. We installed something called System Setup Tool. And the System Setup Tool was the tool that we were going to use to actually prompt for the username of the assigned user that we were going to use. And then a little something. We created an admin account, run some auto-start script and stuff like that. Set the correct... How many from in here are not from the US? Isn't it strange that, I mean, Apple always thinks that everyone uses the American keyboard? Well, that's another problem. So we created a little application called System Setup, which is more or less just a shell script, and did that to auto-start at first login. So if someone logged into a machine, which was the admin account, they logged in, they prompted for the username, and when they prompted for the username, it went out and got to the external system, got back the computer name, set that, got back the unique admin password, set that for the machine, did the domain binding, run another manual policy trigger to get some other stuff installed, and then force the reboot. Look like this. We reset the management password to something random because we don't need that one. And then we run the script. We looked for the startup file because now we used that once, so we don't need that one anymore. So if the admin user were to log in again, he wouldn't have that application out to start. So then we update the inventory. And now we could actually install CrashPlan as well, because now in that script, the system setup script, we actually pre-created the user's home folder, so we can actually now run that script and get a configured CrashPlan client on there. So with these two things, we were able to, I would say, get to the state that a computer will be. And there were two workflows. One, reinstalling, and one, a new machine that was unboxed. And with an unboxed machine, we used Casper imaging, and we just we didn't put on any image or anything. We did no imaging, just thin imaging, or whatever you want to call it, and just installed the packages that we used. And if there was a older computer that we just repurposed, we did put on a new system on that one and run this exact same workflow with this one. And then we had the last one. And that one was, well, that was easy. I mean, David Ackland, another alumni of the Jamf Nation, has a write-up on how you do this if you want all your printers in self-service and how it works and when you should install your printer drivers and stuff like that. So with that now, we had a second run of that. And then we wanted to have all the apps installed from self-service if the user, for some reason, deleted them. So we had to make different policies for that. That was easy. Not bothered with first-round dialogues. Okay, we did that. Rich Troughton, again, your best friend when it comes to this stuff. He has a write-up on every pop-up dialogue that would ever come up in a Mac environment, and he has ways to suppress them, more or less. And then it should be faster than the previous setup. And well, faster than the previous setup, as I said, that shouldn't be too hard. We created an audit account that we used on a big screen that was hanging on the wall so that they could follow actually the setup. So they reinstalled it, just let it go, and then it went through all the hoops that went. And then it stopped. So where did it stop? Well, I wanted the admin login to be able to assign the computer. So in this case now, at this state, they have actually two choices. If the user is sitting there with them and say, oh, yeah, it's my computer, oh, I want it, they can just log in, and we do the last step of the configuration. Or if this is a computer that's, oh, well, let's put it on a shelf for a while, then they can just close the lid on it, put it on the shelf, and do the assignment at a later stage. But if you went through with it, it did all the last things, and then we were done. So with this now, we have an onboarding system that takes about 20 minutes. That is semi-automatic, because you have to assign the computer to a user that is going to use it. But that was totally okay with IT. There was no worries about that. That was totally okay. And if they wanted, they can actually pre-create a bunch of computers that they were repurposing and put them on the shelf, or they can do it as a courtesy to the user that was standing next to them. So these are my tools that I use when I look for stuff like this. MaxSysAdmin, the conference, there's a whole slew of great sessions there that you can learn a lot from. This year was not any different. So if you go there, Duncan McCracken has another great session, this time about updating and how you get the version number in a brilliantly smart way that you can actually download all the scripts and put them in your Jamf Pro and be gone. Their flounder, always, always. MacMule, why not? And of course, Jamf Nation. That is something that we all fall back. I mean, if you Google something and you write Mac and something more, there's bound to be at least 10 or 15 hits on the Jamf Nation page as well. So with that, I'm going to open up to... Oh, I have the coolest tag, don't I? Ha! I knew it. Yes!
Awesome.
JNUC 2016. Awesome. Well, that was not too bad.
Okay, so I'm looking for questions on Twitter, and it's a little quiet out there, so perhaps everyone just actually wants to talk to you in person.
No, they probably don't dare. I'm from another country. You don't know what I'm saying. Yes.
I think we can all understand you. We're good.
Thank you.
But I'm looking for a show of hands of people who want to ask Patrick a question about the entire magical workflow that he went through here. Don't all speak at once.
No, they're...
Anyone in the top?
Over there somewhere.
We've got one. Ooh, we've got one up here, and you're gonna have to shout it, and I shall repeat your question before Patrick can answer it.
I was typing it, just so you know. So do you or do you not recommend binding to Active Directory?
I
Wait,
recommend...
for the
yeah,
recording,
sorry.
if we do you or do you not recommend binding to Active Directory?
If I had my choice, I would say there's no need to bind. I don't see the... But in this case, the customer said there was nothing about it. I mean, they had to be bound to the Active Directory. And usually that is not a problem. I don't see the problem. If there's a problem with binding to the Active Directory, then your Active Directory is broken. So fix the Active Directory instead. I mean, don't blame the Mac for that.
All right, and did we have another...
Harsh, but...
Did we have another question over here? Did you see one previously? Oh, in fact, I will run straight to you then, because I can get to you.
Kind of like this. You're running for me instead of the other way around, yeah?
It's all right, and I ran 5K this morning. There we go.
How long did it take this entire workflow to implement?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and 2 weeks from the... we had a meeting first where they, with the brainstorming and all that stuff. And then we had, as I would say, 9.5 days, because the 9th day we had the, I had to tell them what had happened, so they could support it themselves. Yeah.
All right, anyone else going to make me run up the stairs? Right in the
over
back.
there.
Okay, of course it's the other way. Yep. Where'd you go? There you are.
Thank you. Could you go into a little bit more detail about how you assign a device to a user, a domain user?
The device, the system that they use, I had no access to that, except that I could send a curl request into that system and get that information back. That was the only thing they told me about it. So what does it look like? Well, that's none of your business. So I could send a username in there, and I got back the computer name and the admin password that I was supposed to use. That was the extent of my information about that system.
All right, we got one more over there. Give me 1 second to run. And try not to fall down the stairs while I'm going.
No, well, don't. Please don't.
Were you able to convince the team to steer away from AirWatch and go with Casper by any chance, or did they continue to use AirWatch for their iPad?
I still have a little work to do there, yeah.
All right, looking for more questions? All right, Patrick will stick around for a little bit after the session if there's anything you want to ask him
Of course, yeah, you're welcome to talk to me.
And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for Patrick for being awesome, and hope to see you again.